Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. In this quick snap video, we will learn about placement of Saturn in the sign of Virgo when ascendant sign is Leo. So when the ascendant or the first house is the fifth sign or the royal sign of Leo, then the Virgo falls in the second house of the chart. So this video is also about Saturn in the second house for Leo rising horoscope. So when the Leo sign rises in any chart, then the sixth house falls in the sign of Capricorn and seventh in the sign of Aquarius, and both of these signs are lorded by Saturn. So this one placement of Saturn definitely is going to impact the sixth and seventh house. Now Saturn is placed in the second house, so for sure second house significance will be greatly influenced by this Saturn here. Now in Vedic astrology, Saturn is given some special aspects. So Saturn aspects third house from itself, which will be fourth house in this case. Saturn aspects seventh house from itself, which will be the 8th house in this case, and Saturn also aspects the 10th house from itself, which will be 11th house. So you see, this one placement of Saturn has an impact on many areas of your life, and a lot can be learned by minutely analyzing this placement. But in next few minutes we will look at some of the most important and practical implications of this Saturn's placement. Now, first of all, the most important thing which this Saturn shows is that, second house is house of speech. It shows how you speak. See, third house is the house of your communication skills, but second house shows what words you are going to use. See, third house shows how you use these words, but what kind of words, what kind of thought you use is shown by the second house. And second house also says what will be your voice quality. So that's not a problem here. Saturn in the second house can give you a little husky voice, but that's fine. The bigger problem is Saturn being lord of the sixth house, and sixth house is one of the negative houses in the chart. And one of the signification of sixth house is that it shows your enemies, it shows your adversaries. And the lord of sixth house, Saturn, here in the second, gives a tendency to make enemies by the use of your words. Now what really happens is, Saturn in the mercurial sign of Virgo, Virgo is one of the most analytical sign. It is the most analytical sign, and it gives a tendency to very minutely look at things. Virgo people or strong Virgo sign can actually make a person very nitpicky. They can literally split hairs. They can, if there is any affliction, especially to the second house or to Saturn, can go to any length for argument's sake, and that can cause you to make enemies. That can cause you to have even problems in your family, because second house is the house which shows your family members. And as I said, if there is any affliction, especially if there is Rahu or North Node sitting with Saturn, then the problem could be even bigger. Or most negative impacts of this placement of not being careful in what you say and how you say and make enemies because of your speech happens when Saturn is with Rahu or some aspect of Rahu is there. So please always remember, see, it's much better to lose an argument, but it is very bad and much worse to lose a friend. So please, if you have this placement and you see that you have a tendency to unnecessarily argue, which is very likely, then please drop it, because it can hurt you in long run. Now let's quickly talk about money or wealth, because this Saturn has a profound impact on wealth situation of a person. We'll see why. First of all, Saturn, as I said, in the sign of Virgo, which is the most analytical sign. And one very important aspect of Virgo is that this is a sign which knows how to make do with limited resources. This is the best sign to manage when the resources or source of income or source of supplies or even time is scarce. So there is no better manager of scarce resources than a Virgo. And Saturn here does give people a very micromanager kind of tendency, but this micromanagement can help them in any situation with limited resources. So these people have an inherent tendency or inherent quality to make do in very limited resources also, which is a great thing. However, since Saturn is the lord of 6th house as well as 7th house, see, one of the signification of 6th house is it shows your debts, and one of the signification of 7th house apart from marriage is it shows business partners or business partnerships. So this is actually a tricky situation, tricky in the sense, and to add to that, Virgo is a dual sign as well. So what happens is, if people with this placement put their own money in any partnership kind of business, there is likelihood of accruing debts or losing money. So it is always advisable with people who have this kind of placement that if they are starting any kind of partnership business, then to begin with, try to either minimize your personal money, especially the money which you have not earned, your family wealth. Either try to minimize the wealth contribution and maximize your physical or hard work contribution. You contribute as a worker, as a working partner, because Saturn loves hard work. If you work hard, you get more and more wealth because of this placement. But if you unwisely splurge wealth in any business venture, it can get you in trouble. So the best thing to do is either invest little wealth of yourself in the beginning and invest more of yourself, your time, your mental and physical energy, and once the business gets going, then you can increase your share of personal money into it, or at least you get a proof of concept done, that okay, yes, this business is doable, yes, that business is going to give you revenue or money back, then you can put your wealth. So this is a placement which definitely calls for a lot of caution when putting your own wealth into a partnership business especially. But see, as I said, this is a dual situation. You are liable to gain from partnership business too. It is placed in the 2nd house of money. It aspects the 11th house of gains. But since the lordship of 6th house is there, the chances of you losing your own wealth also exist. So as I said, first a lot of hard work and then your money. Plus this position also is very good to gain or benefit from other people's money because Saturn has an aspect on the 8th house. So please keep these few things in mind, especially when doing a partnership business. And since we are on the topic of wealth and money, one more very important thing which this Saturn shows, and not many people talk about it, is that the Saturn here has a direct aspect on the 8th house, and 8th house is the house of, among other things, longevity. It shows long life because Saturn is the primary karaka of life, and any aspect of Saturn on the 8th house generally gives a long life. Especially this one sitting in the 2nd house in a friendly sign of Virgo, aspecting the 8th house, this Saturn is widely associated with very good longevity. And since Saturn is placed in the house of money, aspecting another house of money, that is 11th, it is imperative that you start saving for your old age as soon as you start earning money. Even if it is a small amount, keep aside and save for future. If you want to invest, have at least some investment in some kind of annuities or pension funds which gives you money in your old age. That is very, very important. Now, another aspect of this is that Saturn being in the second house, Saturn is an old planet and also is lord of the sixth house here. So the people with this placement generally tend to have a face which shows that somehow they are older than their current age. This gives a impression, or first impression when somebody looks at you feels that you are definitely elder and more mature and even with more wisdom than your current or actual age is. It is very, very likely with this Saturn placement. Now, one quick word about the marriage or seventh house, because Saturn is lord of the seventh house and it shows your marriage, and that is that Saturn is placed in a friendly sign. So a spouse with many good qualities is very likely. However, as I said in the beginning, there is chances of unnecessary arguments in the family, and that is even possible with the marriage partner because Saturn is placed in the second house. So try to avoid over analyzing situation, overthinking, nitpicking. It's best to lose an argument, as I said, rather than lose a friend or offend a family member. However, it is also very likely that soon after marriage, because Saturn affects so many money related houses, second house, 11th house, and also the 8th house because it shows the other people's wealth. So it is very likely that soon after marriage, new avenues of earnings or professional growth or a new type of business with the help of your wife, those avenues are also very likely to spin up soon after the marriage. This Saturn definitely supports it. So friends, this was my very quick short analysis of Saturn in second house for Leo Ascendant horoscope. As I said in the beginning, there are umpteen number of things we can analyze if we go deeper into this. But for this video, I'll stop here, and I really hope you would have gotten some better understanding, some practical knowledge and helpful tips regarding this placement of Saturn. So thank you so much for being with me so far, and please click the like and subscribe button to continue to get more updates like this. I thank you again for watching and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.